Where did that come from? Obviously, you guys are rehired!
One of the reasons why we absolutely love the Despicable Me franchise is that they know how to include interesting little details that are just waiting to be discovered. In this video, we will highlight all the hidden details and secrets you most likely missed while watching the latest installment, Minions: The Rise of Gru.
No! Ready for your Junior Kung Fu Achievement badges! They're dead.
Criminal records.
You're no good.
We know everyone caught the name of the Vicious Six headquarters, but not everyone will stop to realize just how the hilarious play of words was. In the scene where Gru arrives at the Vicious Six headquarters so that he can audition to fill the empty spot in the group, you can see that he arrives at the record store called Criminal Records. Naturally, this is an odd name for a store, making the double meaning behind it even more noteworthy. Think about it. Criminal Records are basically a rap sheet of arrests and prosecutions. A perfect name for the hideout of the most wanted villains in town, right? Hugh Hefner's Robe.
Minibus? No le tipo todo para tú?
Yeah, I get it, but I need a good night's sleep, so get out.
From the other installments of the Despicable Me franchise, it has already been established that Gru shares a special bond with the Minions, especially Kevin, Stuart, and Bob. However, since this is a prequel, we get to see this relationship at its earliest. Who knew Gru literally grew up with them, and that they even shared the same bed? It was so cool to see. This brings us to the scene where Stuart jumps onto the bed with Gru and the others. Did you notice what he was wearing? This smoking jacket may be a reference to the go-to look of Hugh Hefner, founder of Playboy magazine. This is definitely a weird thing to include in a kid's movie. Maybe they're just trying to make these hidden details appeal to the adults who have to sit through the movies with the kids.
Luca!
You found the stone, Otto! I'm so proud of you!
A life career in the AVL.
You're going away for a long time.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't bet on it.
Now that we are on the topic of younger versions, did you notice the fat guy acting as a field operative of the anti-villain league? Yes, even Silas Ramsbottom appears as a younger version of himself in this film. Naturally, he is not yet presiding over the AVL. This movie shows him working his way up the ladder, busting his ass, and trying to capture the Vicious Six. We loved the significant scene where he is kind of advising Gru to stay on the right path, so he can have a decent and good life. This is funny because we all know how the story actually goes. Stuntman Evel Knievel.
San Panpisco! Oh, durikita Gru en San Panpisco! Vamos!
There isn't just a reference to a legendary stuntman, there's also a cameo. While chasing the biker with the coveted Zodiac stone, we see Otto riding at top speed. In the process, he passes a mysterious figure on the highway. We bet you didn't know that this rider is a nod to Robert Craig, better known as Evel Knievel, who was a stuntman in Daredevil. This man is famous for his outstanding total attempts of 75 ramp-to-ramp motorcycle jumps. He was even inducted into the Motorcycle Hall of Fame in 1999, so when Otto nails that huge jump across the canyon, we just have to catch the reference. The Indiana Jones saga.
We will become the most powerful villains in the world! Okay, let's get a move on.
We have picked up on the fact that this Minions movie must have drawn a lot of inspiration from the classic and adventure-filled movies in the Indiana Jones saga. If you are a fan of Indiana Jones, have seen the Uncharted movie, or even played the game, you will definitely know an archaeological adventure when you see one. To begin with, the film starts with Wild Knuckles stealing the Zodiac Stone, which just happens to have the ability to bestow the powers of tiny Zodiac animals to its users. In fact, the Minions Rise of Gru takes place in the year 1976. This is just 5 years before Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark was released in the real world by 1981. We doubt that the closeness of the timeline is coincidental. There's the breaking into an old temple, then the avoidance of ancient traps that protect the stone. The only thing we do not see is the old man in a hat holding a whiplash. Well, that would have made it a little too obvious.
Alright, I'm not Minnie. Please stop calling me that. And also, they haven't accepted me yet.
The inspiration behind the Vicious Six.
Evil is for adults who steal powerful ancient stones and wreak havoc.
The main antagonists of this movie are the Vicious Six. One thing we love about the Sinister Gang, their names. Don't even get us started on Nunchuck. We think the name Vicious Six was inspired by Spider-Man's classic villainous association, the Sinister Six. Then we have Jean-Claude, and this is a creative play on words that gives a direct nod to the voice behind the character, Jean-Claude Van Damme. We also notice that his outfit is similar to that of Droog in A Clockwork Orange. For Vengeance, we can reference his look to that of the uniforms in the 1975 sci-fi film Rollerball. The inspiration for Bell's Bottoms has to be the classic 70s style of the black heroines in popular movies at the time.
Bruce Lee's jumpsuit.
Kevin.
This movie has joined the long list of movies that have paid homage to Bruce Lee's legacy by pulling out the famous yellow jumpsuit. In this film's martial arts training sequence, we see the minions in red, blue, and yellow jumpsuits. The yellow jumpsuit specifically gives the nod to Bruce Lee. In case you were wondering why, this jumpsuit has become a way to honor Bruce because he was seen in it during his last performance while working on the film he did not get to finish, Game of Death.
Kevin, Stuart, and Bob, you are ready.
SCARLET Overkill Lunchbox.
Stop this kick!
Still in the martial arts training sequence, we have to mention a callback moment that gives a nod to the first Despicable Me movie. At some point during the training, you can see Stuart with a lunchbox with SCARLET Overkill on it. Considering she was the first movie's villain, it's hard to imagine why Stuart has that lunchbox on him.
Rest up. Tomorrow's going to be even worse.
The Cheese Ray. In this film, Gru uses a cheese ray on a group of innocent bystanders. At this point, we recognize that not everyone would pick up on this callback to the first Despicable Me movie. This scene perfectly mirrors Gru's introduction scene in the previous movie, where he uses the freeze ray on some bystanders in a coffee shop. Watching this scene and looking back to the old one, we appreciate the fact that Gru has no problem tapping into his inner child. We do hope that none of those bystanders in this movie are lactose intolerant, though. That was a whole lot of cheese.
I overheard you were looking for something special.
Tupperware party.
You had better be paying for my roof!
Remember the scene where the minions are throwing a Tupperware party? If you are wondering what this is, we do not blame you. These types of events were huge back in the day, starting around the 50s up until the 70s. It was usually a large gathering in the host's home, who would then sell a large amount of Tupperware to friends, family, or anyone who cared to show up. Sounds boring, right? But it was the acceptable way that American women could make money from home. Don't forget, this was the era of all those outdated gender roles. Thankfully, we are done with this, but it was definitely a funny reference to add to this movie. We even see the minions who attend the party in that scene wearing the old mum wigs that were popular at the time.
Attack!
The alligator couch.
Uh-oh.
Clear!
Oh, wait a minute, wait!
Don't give up on me now, buddy!
Remember the scene from the first movie where we get a peek into the house of Gru? Of course you do. Who would forget all that weird furniture? One particular piece of furniture from that scene is referenced in this movie, and it is none other than the large alligator taxidermy / couch. Now, in the second movie, this couch can be spotted at Wild Knuckles' house. Gru has just been brought to see Knuckles after he was kidnapped. A lot was happening, but we didn't miss that couch. Seeing the relationship that eventually formed between the two, we can understand why Gru would have that couch as an adult.
Here, take this. If you ever get famous, remember who gave you your first gadget.
Shoot for the moon.
How did you do that? I cannot wait to fake my own death to avoid the authorities.
The scene at the end, where Wild Knuckles tells young Gru to shoot for the moon, had us screaming. Remember, Gru's whole master plan in the first Despicable Me movie was to steal the moon. Considering the fact that Gru idolized and was heavily influenced by Wild Knuckles, we are not surprised that he would grow up to take those words literally. We love when a prequel can give requels to sequels and that we have already watched.
We're coming for you, tiny man!
No!